Hey, it's Brookes with Character Design Forge, currently in the throes of working on the Stormfellers animated pilot, so I'm in project mode, and this is a challenging thing for sure, but it's all still possible for me to accomplish, and that got me thinking about the nature of challenging ourselves creatively, like the title says, whether that's like the literal creativity or voice that we have, or just building up and learning skills. Now, you might at first feel like either the idea of challenges is off-putting, or even outputting at a personal best that you've previously had is a challenge itself. Trouble or struggle with motivating or being productive. There are also some who might use creativity purely as an escape, a comfort, a form of relief or therapy for themselves, and so they might not have any interest in improving or in doing anything different than they ever have. They might even be offended by the notion that they could do anything different or better. For the majority of us, though, challenge is inherent to our creative process. Few of us really want to be making the same exact thing at the same level of skill for decades. Imagine if someone gave unsolicited critique on a piece of art that you made 3 or 4 years ago. They shouldn't be doing that anyway, so rude. But even still, you'd likely think, I'm so far past this. I did this and learned from it, and likely the things pointed out as flaws are things I've already addressed myself. That forward movement is really healthy, and even the best artists you know of, and professional artists, are still doing what they can to continue learning or to grow and create new, different experiences. In the long term, every few years, that progress is clear, but in the short term, it might seem hard to get started. So here's a few ways that you might do that. Light died. New light. Having goals that you're working toward is one of the best ways to chart this progress. You aren't just drawing a car here or animating a bouncing ball there, you're moving in a certain direction. I've said many times that I sometimes struggle with motivation to purely learn for the sake of learning. But if not knowing something is the specific roadblock in my way to progress on a goal, there's no way I'm not learning to do it. Sometimes if you don't set a goal, you can end up looking at lots of cool stuff that other people do and getting some of that shiny object syndrome of, ooh, I really have to learn that, and oh, I really have to get better at that, and jump around because you feel like you're missing out. With a goal in mind, it's much easier to put the idea of working on that something else on the back burner and going, that's nice, but it's not what I'm focused on right now. I think we do this a lot as artists, where we conflate appreciating the way that someone else made something or their art style and immediately feeling compelled to learn how to make things the same way that they do. Nothing wrong with that idea, but sometimes it's okay to just like the way that someone does something and not emulate it at all yourself. I've found one of the best ways to accomplish goals is through projects. Projects give you a practical, hands-on reason why you're learning something and something to show for it at the end. Keep those goals nice and small. For example, I'm not really a composer of music at all, so if my goal was to compose for a feature-length film or create an entire concept album from zero, I probably wouldn't get very far. These projects will compound on each other either little by little or over time. For something like Stormfellers, there are a ton of different disciplines and hats that I need to wear to make this project happen. There's design, especially character design, illustration, storyboarding, writing, editing, modeling, texturing, rigging, animating, effects, and rendering. The secret is that while this is my first time creating something on this scale, it's not my first time doing any of those particular things. Setting out to make something that's relatively short is the next stepping stone as far as complexity and quality for me personally. Even when these projects aren't personal projects, all you need is a motive to accomplish them. For example, as an art generalist, there have been a few times where clients have asked if I can do something, and then I say, yes, I can do that, and then I learned how to do it. Am I saying that's advice? Probably not the most responsible thing, but maybe you could pull that off. The motivation to not lose the client or do a bad job and let them down is, for me, more than enough accountability to learn quickly. Another great way to challenge yourself, especially if you're looking to gain the skill that someone else has, is to do a master study. This is where you try and replicate a piece of art that someone else has made by remaking it yourself, maybe trying to think like that person. This idea extends past art, though. You could try and recreate the mechanics of your favorite game, create a cover of a favorite song, or write fan fiction that's meant to fit in the same universe. Master studies aren't really meant for anything more than personal growth. They're meant specifically to help you challenge yourself. And depending on what you're trying to improve, you can focus on different things. For example, you could start a master study by tracing out the constructed forms in a piece of art or design if you want to work on your construction. Or you could specifically focus on the values of light and dark if you're focused on realism or rendering. Moving beyond skills, though, and trying to add challenge or new levels of depth to our creative voice, there's a few things that I think can help. One would be to be okay with wallowing in obscurity. This might mean not having something new to share or post for a week or month on social media, taking a step back to gain perspective. A healthy conversation involves not just saying things, but listening. That same process needs to happen with us internally too, to have a healthy creative process. Sometimes it may be good to reevaluate where we are and what we're really all about, simply because time has passed, almost like we're still wearing clothes that no longer fit us. Interrogate yourself about that why that drives us and motivates us to make things. And if you've done this before, it's likely been a while since you checked back in on it. So how have you changed as a person since the last time you made this self-evaluation? Maybe last time you surmised that you're all about making Donkey Kong fan characters, and it's been a few years. And instead of moving on to a different fan base or something, you've realized that the connection to Donkey Kong has matured into a fascination mainly with apes. A lot of times our interest is piqued by a certain nugget of something in a larger context. And if we can single out that nugget, use it in our own voice or context, it becomes much more personal for us. Now, mixed in with your own background, core motivations, and aesthetics that you love, you end up with a comic story about an ape in space, drawn in your unique, whimsical style, or an animated short about an intelligent monkey sent back to medieval times. I hope you're taking good notes on these incredibly good ape ideas. Maybe it's just King K. Rool or animals and ties, but you've grown since your Donkey Kong days. And finally, if the most challenging thing for you is the struggle to get motivated, you may just need rest, accountability, or to figure out the tiny first step to get started. We've talked at length about burnout and struggle, and there's plenty of videos on that topic in the Artistic Mindset playlist. So how are you doing this week? What things are you struggling with, and what things are you going to intentionally, lovingly challenge yourself with moving forward? I hope that this video was helpful for you. You can get my course Learn Character Design over at learncharacterdesign.com. It's over 18 hours of video learning, and you can follow me at BagelDenizen on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. You can get something called Biko's Backpack over on patreon.com/BagelDenizen. It's a hard enamel pin and foil trading card in your mailbox every month featuring new original art from me. Thanks so much for watching, and have fun creating.